The Pakled soldiers laughed loud enough to rattle the docking locks as Captain Alan Bennett disembarked from his small, pathetic-looking ship. They pointed at the lack of visible weapons, the tiny size, the cheap-looking hull plating. The soldiers were so busy mocking the vessel that they missed the knowing glint in Alan's eyes. Alan didn't bother correcting their misconceptions. Let the arrogant fools believe what they wanted. What the Paklids didn't realize was that this unassuming little ship, built by ingenious human engineers, was equipped with cutting-edge stealth technology far beyond anything they had. Its plain exterior masked powerful energy shields, quantum computer systems, and an experimental FTL drive that could outrun the fastest Paklid ships. As he moved through the bustling outpost filled with various alien species, Alan's focus remained on his critical mission. Tensions between humans and Paklids had been escalating for decades as the militaristic aliens tried to undermine humanity's interests and expand their territory. Intel suggested the Paklids were planning an imminent attack on human colonies in the region. Alan had to find proof of their plot. The alternative was a devastating war that would cost countless lives. For a young species like humanity who had only achieved FTL travel a century ago, it was a perilous situation. The galaxy was filled with far more advanced alien civilizations, each with their own agendas. But humanity's ingenuity and adaptability had allowed them to quickly rise as a significant power, much to the resentment of established species like the Paklids who felt threatened. As Alan began his covert investigation, he knew he'd have to carefully navigate a treacherous web of alien politics, deception, and hidden agendas to uncover the truth. The stakes couldn't be higher, for himself, his mission, and humanity's future. If he failed, it could mean the end of mankind's rapid ascent and dreams of a greater role in galactic affairs. But if he succeeded, Alan could help position his species to stand strong against the Paklids and any other alien forces that would seek humanity's destruction. With the weight of this responsibility on his shoulders, Alan headed deeper into the Paklid outpost, ready to use every tool and trick he had to protect his people. The Paklids would regret underestimating him and the incredible capabilities of human technology. He would make sure of it, no matter the cost. Once the laughter of the Paklid soldiers faded into the bustling noise of the outpost, Alan got to work. He blended into the crowd, his unassuming demeanor helping him navigate the various alien species without drawing attention. Using his ship's advanced systems, he tapped into the Paklids' computer network, his quantum decryption algorithms making short work of their firewalls. As data streamed across his handheld display, Alan's eyes widened. Commander Spica's plans were laid bare. A surprise attack on the human colony of New Eden, with the goal of seizing its rich mineral deposits and strategic location. But it was the mention of a new weapon that sent a chill down Alan's spine. He needed more information. Activating his ship's cloaking field, Alan slipped past the Paklid patrols and infiltrated their military base. The corridors were stark and utilitarian, echoing with the harsh sounds of Paklid voices. Alan moved silently, his augmented reality display guiding him to the central command center. Inside, Commander Spica loomed over a holographic display, his scarred face twisted into a sneer. "The humans think they're safe behind their pathetic defenses," he growled. "But our new weapon will make short work of them. Once we neutralize their systems, the colony will be ours for the taking." Alan's heart raced as he watched Spica outline the final stages of the attack plan. He had to get this information back to human space. Fingers flying over his wrist computer, he initiated the download of the critical data. Suddenly alarms blared throughout the command center. "Intruder detected!" a Paklid soldier shouted, pointing at Alan. In a flash, Alan drew his plasma pistol, its compact frame belying its power. Paklid soldiers charged forward, their bulky armor no match for the weapon's superheated blasts. Alan moved with fluid precision, his nanofiber suit enhancing his strength and speed. Sparks flew and consoles exploded as the firefight intensified. The Paklids had numbers, but Alan had superior technology and training. With a final shot, he took down the last soldier and sprinted for the exit, the downloaded data secure in his wrist computer. Back on his ship, Alan pored over the information, his brow furrowed. The Paklid's new weapon was a game-changer, designed to exploit vulnerabilities in human defense systems. He had to warn his superiors and come up with a plan to counter the impending attack. But as he fired up his engines, a dozen Paklid ships dropped out of warp, surrounding him. Commander Spica's face filled his view screen, twisted with rage. "Did you really think you could steal from us and escape, human?" Spica snarled. "Surrender now and hand over the data or be destroyed." Alan's grip tightened on the controls. "Not a chance, Spica. I won't let you threaten innocent lives." With a burst of acceleration, Alan's ship shot forward, its advanced engines leaving the Paklid vessels in the dust. But Spica and his forces gave chase, their weapons hammering at Alan's shields. The nimble human ship wove through the barrage of laser fire, its quantum entanglement drive allowing it to blink in and out of existence, confounding the Paklid's targeting systems. Alan returned fire, his ship's plasma cannons raking across the enemy vessel's hulls. But the Paklids kept coming, their attacks relentless. Warning lights flashed across Alan's displays as his ship took damage, its systems pushed to the brink. In a last-ditch effort, Alan activated the prototype quantum drive, the space around his ship warping and twisting. In a flash of blinding light, he vanished, reappearing behind the Paklid formation. Before they could react, he unleashed a volley of quantum torpedoes, the powerful warheads tearing through their shields and hull plating. With the Paklid ships reeling, Alan punched in coordinates for the nearest human starbase and pushed his engines to full power. The stars stretched into lines as he entered FTL, leaving the crippled Paklid forces behind. But even as he raced towards safety, Alan knew his mission was far from finished. The information he carried could prevent a war, but it also painted a target on his back. The Paklids would stop at nothing to see him dead, and humanity's progress halted. Alan's grip tightened on the controls, his teeth clenched. No matter what challenges lay ahead, he would fight to protect his people and secure their place in the galaxy. The Paklids had underestimated humanity for the last time. Alan's ship dropped out of FTL, the starbase's massive form filling the view screen. His hands shook as he guided the vessel into the docking bay, adrenaline still coursing through his system. The moment the airlock sealed, he sprinted towards the command center. "I need to speak with Admiral Zhao immediately," Alan demanded, bursting into the bustling control room. "It's urgent." Minutes later, he stood before a holographic display, surrounded by grim-faced military leaders. Alan's fingers flew over the controls, bringing up the stolen Paklid data. "The Paklids are planning an imminent attack on our colonies," he explained, voice tight. "They've developed a new weapon designed to neutralize our defenses." Admiral Zhao's eyes narrowed as she studied the schematics. "This is worse than we thought. We need to act fast." "I have an idea," Alan said. "Let me lead a strike team. We can use what I learned about their systems to cripple their offensive capabilities before they can use this weapon." Zhao nodded. "Do it. You'll have our full support." Over the next few hours, Alan assembled his team. 6 of the best soldiers and pilots humanity had to offer. In the briefing room, he laid out the plan. "We'll use my ship's cloaking tech to slip past their defenses," Alan explained. "Once inside, we'll split into 3 groups. Alpha Team, you're with me. We'll take out the main power core. Beta Team, your target is their new weapon. Gamma Team, you'll hit their command centers and create as much chaos as possible." As they approached the Paklid stronghold, tension filled the air. Alan's fingers danced over the controls, activating the cloaking field. They glided past the Paklid patrol ships undetected. "We're in," Alan whispered as they touched down in a deserted hangar. "Move out." The team split up, moving silently through the corridors. Alan led Alpha Team deeper into the facility, following the pulsing energy readings on his wrist computer. They reached the power core, a massive cylinder of swirling energy. "Plant the charges," Alan ordered. "We've got 5 minutes." Suddenly alarms blared. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. "Intruders!" a Paklid voice boomed. "Find them!" Alan's team worked faster, attaching explosives to key points around the core. Just as they finished, a familiar figure stepped into the room. "Well, well," Commander Spica sneered. "The human returns." Alan faced the pack lead, fists clenched. "It's over, Spica. Your plans have failed." Spica lunged forward, his massive form barreling towards Alan. But the human was ready. His combat suit's enhancers kicked in, allowing him to dodge the attack with inhuman speed. The two traded blows, Spica's brute strength meeting Alan's augmented agility. Alan's fist connected with Spica's jaw, sending the pack lead stumbling back. "Your primitive technology is no match for us," Spica growled. Alan smirked. "You'd be surprised." With a burst of speed, Alan swept Spica's legs out from under him. The pack-lead commander crashed to the ground, dazed. "Team, move out!" Alan shouted. They sprinted through the corridors as explosions rocked the facility. Walls crumbled around them as they made their way back to the ship. As they blasted off, Alan watched the pack-led stronghold collapse in on itself. A sense of triumph filled him, but it was short-lived. His comm crackled to life. "Captain Bennett, we have an emergency situation." Admiral Zhao's voice came through. "The Pack-Leads have launched a retaliatory strike against New Eden Colony. They've overwhelmed the defenses and are taking hostages." Alan's blood ran cold. How? Their fleet was crippled. They had a reserve force we didn't know about. Heavily armed warships. The colony is falling as we speak. The weight of the situation crashed down on Alan. This wasn't a victory. It was the start of a war. And he had played a part in escalating it. "What are my orders, Admiral?" he asked, voice tight. "Return to base immediately. We need to plan a counteroffensive to liberate the colony." As Alan set course for the starbase, his mind raced. The future of humanity in the galaxy now hung in the balance, and he was at the center of it all. The real battle was just beginning. Alan's ship dropped out of FTL, the New Eden colony coming into view. His heart sank as he saw the Pack-led blockade, a ring of warships encircling the planet, cutting off all aid and escape. "Status report," Alan barked. "Pack-led ships have established a tight perimeter, Captain," his tactical officer responded. "No vessels in or out. Ground scans show widespread destruction and Pack-led forces occupying major population centers." Alan's mind raced. They needed to break through fast. "Activate stealth systems. We're going in silent." The ship's cloaking field engaged, rendering them invisible to Pack-led sensors. Alan guided them through a gap in the blockade, tension thick on the bridge. "Sir, we're past their perimeter," the helmsman reported. "Good. Now for Phase 2. Alan turned to his team. "We hit their ships hard and fast. Disable weapons and engines. Create chaos. On my mark, now." The human vessel decloaked, unleashing a barrage of precision strikes. Pack-led ships reeled as their systems went dark. Confusion spread through their ranks as more vessels fell silent. With the blockade crumbling, Alan led the charge to the surface. Drop pods screamed through the atmosphere, depositing squads of human soldiers in exosuits. Combat drones swarmed overhead, providing cover fire. Alan hit the ground running, plasma rifle at the ready. "Push them back, street by street." The battle raged through burning city blocks. Human exosuits gave them the edge in close quarters, while drones picked off Pack-led defenders from above. Slowly but surely, they gained ground. Alan's comm crackled. "Captain, we've detected a group of hostages. Spica's personal guard has them cornered in the central plaza." "I'm on it," Alan growled. He sprinted to a nearby combat shuttle, firing up the engines. The shuttle screamed low over the city, dodging Pack-led fire. Alan set it down hard in the plaza, leaping out with weapon drawn. He found himself face to face with Commander Spica, who held a disruptor to a human child's head. "Surrender now, human," Spica snarled, "or watch these innocents die." Alan's mind raced. Then he saw it. A weakness in Spica's armor, right where his neural implant connected. With lightning speed, Alan activated his wrist computer, unleashing a localized EMP burst. Spica roared in pain as his systems overloaded. The hostages scattered. Alan charged forward, tackling the Pack-led commander. They grappled fiercely, Spica's strength nearly overwhelming Alan. But the human's augmented reflexes gave him the edge. With a series of precision strikes, he brought the alien to his knees. "It's over, Spica," Alan panted. But the pack-led commander wasn't done. With a savage grin, he activated his exosuit. Armor plates slid into place as he rose, now towering over Alan. "You think your pathetic human technology can match this?" Spica boomed. The fight that followed pushed Alan to his limits. Spica's exosuit gave him incredible strength and durability. But Alan was faster, more agile. He darted in and out, looking for weak points. Finally, he saw his chance. As Spica lunged, Alan slid underneath, firing his plasma pistol point-blank into a gap in the armor. The suit's power core overloaded and Spica crashed to the ground. With their leader fallen, the remaining pack-led forces retreated in disarray. Alan and his team secured the colony, tending to the wounded and repairing what they could. But even as they celebrated this victory, grim news poured in. Similar pack-led attacks had hit multiple human systems. This was no isolated incident. It was an all-out war. In an emergency briefing, Admiral Zhao addressed the assembled military leadership. "The pack-leds have launched a coordinated offensive across our territory. We're calling all available forces to defend our colonies." She turned to Alan. "Captain Bennett, in light of your actions at New Eden, we're promoting you to Task Force Commander. You'll be leading our counter-offensive against the pack-led threat." Alan nodded grimly. The real fight was just beginning. Humanity would need every ounce of ingenuity and courage to survive the coming storm. Alan stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the USS Raptor, surveying the holographic display of pack-led controlled space. His eyes darted across the intricate web of supply lines and fortified positions. "There," he said, pointing to a cluster of red icons. "That's their primary logistics hub. We hit that. We cripple their war machine." Lieutenant Rodriguez nodded. "It's heavily guarded, sir. Getting close won't be easy." "That's why we're not getting close," Alan replied, a hint of a smile playing at his lips. "We're going straight through their front door." Hours later, Alan sat in the cockpit of his stealth fighter, leading a squadron of Earth's finest pilots. The sleek, angular craft sliced through space, their advanced cloaking technology rendering them invisible to pack-led sensors. "All units maintain radio silence," Alan whispered into his comms. "Execute on my mark." The pack-led supply convoy came into view. A dozen massive freighters flanked by heavily armed escorts. Alan's fingers tightened on the controls. "Now!" The human fighters decloaked simultaneously, unleashing a barrage of quantum-tipped missiles. Pack-led ships erupted in flames before they could even raise shields. Alan's fighter screamed past the burning wreckage, locking onto the lead freighter. "Boarding teams, you're clear to engage." He watched as human assault shuttles latched onto the pack-led vessels. Armored troops poured in, securing the ships room by room. Alan docked his fighter and joined the boarding party on the lead freighter. They fought their way to the cargo hold, dispatching pack-led defenders with practiced efficiency. As the smoke cleared, Alan's eyes widened. The hold was filled with strange, pulsing devices unlike anything he'd ever seen. "What the hell are these?" he muttered, approaching one of the devices. A captured pack-led scientist, restrained nearby, laughed bitterly. "Your doom, human. A weapon to end your pathetic species once and for all." Before Alan could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. A familiar voice crackled over the comms. "Attention, human vermin," Commander Spiga's voice boomed. "You have stolen what is rightfully ours. Return the prototypes and our scientists, or watch your people die." Alan rushed to a view screen. His blood ran cold as he saw Spica's massive battlecruiser looming over a disabled human frigate. "You have 1 hour to comply," Spica growled, "or I start executing prisoners." Alan's mind raced. He couldn't give up these weapons, but he couldn't sacrifice innocent lives either. "All hands," he barked into the ship-wide comms. "Prepare for immediate evacuation. Get those civilians out of here." As his forces scrambled to comply, Alan formulated a plan. It was risky, bordering on suicidal, but it was their only shot. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the ship. Alan stumbled, grabbing a console for support. Warning klaxons blared as systems failed across the board. "Direct hit to our main reactor," an officer shouted. "We're losing power." Alan gritted his teeth. "Abandon ship! Everyone to the escape pods!" As chaos erupted around him, Alan sprinted towards the Pakled vessel they'd captured earlier. He fought his way through panicked crew members and Pakled prisoners. Reaching the bridge, he found a mix of human troops and cooperative Pakled crew members struggling to control the unfamiliar systems. "Listen up," Alan shouted, taking command. "We're taking this ship into battle. Anyone who doesn't want to fight can leave now." No one moved. Alan nodded grimly. "All right then, let's show these bastards what we're made of." He strapped himself into the captain's chair, fingers flying over the alien controls. The ship lurched forward, its powerful engines roaring to life. "Target Spica's flagship," Alan ordered. "Concentrate all fire on their weapons arrays." The captured Pakled vessel unleashed a devastating barrage, catching Spica off guard. Alan exploited every weakness he'd learned about Pakled technology, systematically dismantling their defenses. Spica's ship listed to one side, smoke pouring from multiple hull breaches. Alan allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction. "Sir," a sensor operator called out, "Spica's ship is breaking formation. They're running." Alan leaned forward in his chair. "Not this time. Pursue and disable. I want that ship intact." The chase was short, but intense. Alan's borrowed vessel, piloted with human ingenuity, outmaneuvered Spica's lumbering craft at every turn. A final precision strike to the engines left the Pakled flagship dead in space. "Prepare boarding parties," Alan ordered. "I want Spica in custody within the hour." As his troops secured the enemy vessel, Alan allowed himself a moment of relief. They dealt the Pakleds a crippling blow and captured their most dangerous leader. But his reprieve was short-lived. A proximity alarm blared and new contacts appeared on the sensor display. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, face pale. "We've got multiple Pakled ships incoming, but they're attacking Spica's forces." Alan watched in disbelief as a fierce battle erupted between the two Pakled factions. Caught in the middle of this unexpected civil war, he realized the conflict had entered a dangerous new phase. "Get me a secure channel to Admiral Zhao," Alan ordered. "She needs to know what's happening here." As he waited for the transmission to connect, Alan's mind raced with the implications. The Pakled threat wasn't over. It had just become far more complicated. He would need every ounce of skill and cunning to navigate the treacherous waters ahead and secure humanity's future in the galaxy. Alan's eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical display. The Pakled renegade ships unleashed a barrage of energy that tore through both human and loyalist Pakled vessels with frightening ease. "Those aren't standard weapons," he muttered. "Rodriguez analyzed that energy signature." Lieutenant Rodriguez's fingers flew across her console. "Sir, it matches the prototypes we confiscated. But how did they—" "A traitor," Alan cut her off. "We need to shut this down now." He turned to his communications officer. "Get me a secure line to Admiral Zhao." Minutes later, Alan stood before the holographic projection of the Admiral. "The renegades have the prototypes, sir. We're tracking them to a remote station. Request permission to lead an assault team." Zhao's hologram flickered. "Granted, Captain. But tread carefully. Those weapons could change everything." Alan assembled his team, a mix of hardened soldiers and brilliant engineers. As their stealth shuttle approached the station, he briefed them one last time. "Remember, we go in quiet. Neutralize defenses, secure the prototypes, destroy their manufacturing capabilities. Questions?" Sergeant Chen raised his hand. "Rules of engagement, sir?" "Non-lethal if possible, but these renegades won't hesitate. Neither can we." The shuttle docked silently. Alan's team moved through the station like ghosts, disabling security systems and evading patrols. They reached the main research lab without firing a shot. The doors hissed open. Alan's blood ran cold. Row upon row of half-assembled prototypes filled the cavernous space. At the far end, a pack-led woman barked orders to a team of engineers. "Vectra!" Alan whispered, recognizing the renegade commander from intelligence briefings. He raised his hand, ready to signal the attack, when Vectra spun around. Her eyes locked onto Alan's position. "Intruders!" she bellowed. The air erupted in a storm of energy blasts. Alan dove behind a workbench as prototype weapons discharged around him. The scream of superheated air filled his ears. "Chen! Jonas! Flank left!" Alan shouted over the comm. He popped up, firing precise bursts from his rifle. A renegade pack-led fell, stunned. The battle raged through the lab. Human soldiers clashed with pack-led defenders, while engineers from both sides scrambled to secure or destroy vital components. Alan spotted Vectra making a break for a side exit. He charged after her, dodging energy blasts that left smoldering holes in the walls. "Rodriguez!" he yelled into his comm. "Status on overloading the core?" "Almost there, sir, but there's some kind of— Wait, no!" Alarms blared throughout the station. Alan felt the deck plates shudder beneath his feet. Vectra's voice rang out over the station's speakers. "You lose, human. This station will tear itself apart, and you with it." Alan gritted his teeth. "All teams fall back to the shuttle, now." As his soldiers retreated, Alan's mind raced. They couldn't let the prototypes be destroyed, but they'd never reach the shuttle in time. His eyes fell on a rack of completed weapons. A desperate plan formed. "Everyone grab a prototype, follow me." Alan snatched up one of the alien devices. Its weight felt wrong in his hands, but he pushed the thought aside. He led his team to the nearest hull section, praying his hunch was right. "Set weapons to maximum yield. Aim for that support strut." The prototypes hummed with power. Alan took a deep breath and pulled the trigger. A blinding flash filled his vision. When it cleared, a gaping hole had been torn in the station's hull. "Go, go, go!" They leapt into the vacuum, mag boots engaging on the station's outer hull. Alan's lungs burned as his suit struggled to compensate for the sudden pressure change. Through blurred vision, he saw Vectra's ship detach from a distant docking port. "There," he gasped, pointing. The team sprinted across the hull, massive explosions blossoming behind them as the station tore itself apart. They reached their shuttle with seconds to spare, sealing the airlock just as a fireball engulfed their former position. "Pursuit course," Alan ordered as he strapped himself in. "Don't let Vectra escape." The shuttle rocketed away from the dying station. Ahead, Vectra's ship juked and weaved, trying to shake them. "She's making for that moon," Rodriguez called out. Alan leaned forward in his seat. "All weapons, target her engines, cripple that ship." Energy lanced out from the shuttle's weapons banks. Vectra's vessel shuddered under the assault. Trailing smoke and debris, it plummeted toward the moon's cratered surface. "Closing fast," the pilot reported. "Brace for atmospheric entry." G-forces slammed Alan back in his seat as they dove after their quarry. The shuttle's hull glowed cherry red from the friction. They burst through the cloud layer in time to see Vectra's ship impact the surface in a massive fireball. Alan's mouth set in a grim line. "Take us down. Secure the crash site." The shuttle touched down near the smoldering wreckage. Alan led his team out, weapons at the ready. They found Vectra crawling from the debris, burns covering half her face. Alan trained his rifle on her. "It's over," he said. "Surrender." Vectra looked up at him, a pained grin splitting her features. "You're too late, human," she spat. "The schematics are already out there. This is just the beginning." Alan's comm crackled to life. Admiral Zhao's voice came through tight with tension. "Captain Bennett, we have reports of prototype weapons appearing across multiple sectors. The situation is spiraling out of control." Alan closed his eyes for a moment, then squared his shoulders. "Sir, request permission to open negotiations with Commander Spica. We need the Loyalist Packleds if we're going to contain this." There was a long pause before Zhao responded. "Do it, Captain, whatever it takes." Alan nodded grimly. He turned to his team, persistence etched on his face. All right, people, let's move. We've got a war to win. Alan Bennett stood on the bridge of the Pakled Loyalist flagship, his eyes scanning the tactical displays. The uneasy alliance with Commander Spica felt like a powder keg ready to ignite, but they had no choice. The renegade threat loomed large. Our intel confirms Corva's location, Spica growled, his massive frame towering over the human captain. We strike now. Alan nodded, keying his comm. All units, prepare for assault. Stealth teams, move in. The view screen showed a desolate planetoid, its surface scarred by mining operations. Corva's outpost nestled in a deep canyon, shielded from orbital scans. As Spica's forces launched their frontal assault, Alan led his strike team to a narrow ravine. Drones buzzed ahead, their sensors probing for weaknesses. Contact, Lieutenant Rodriguez whispered. 3 guards, northwest corner. Alan raised his hand, signaling the team to halt. The drones struck with surgical precision, neutralizing the guards before they could raise an alarm. Move, Alan ordered. They advanced through the outpost's maze-like corridors, the sounds of battle echoing from the main gate. Plasma bolts sizzled past, and Alan ducked behind a storage crate. We're pinned down, Sergeant Chen shouted, returning fire. Alan spotted a ventilation shaft above. Cover me! He leapt, fingers finding purchase on the grate. With a grunt, he pulled himself up and into the narrow passage. Crawling through choking dust, Alan emerged behind the enemy position. He dropped down, catching the renegades by surprise. His stun baton crackled as he took them out in quick succession. Clear, he called. The team pushed forward, fighting their way to the heart of the facility. They burst into a cavernous chamber filled with assembly lines and half-finished weapons. My God, Rodriguez breathed. They're mass-producing them. A klaxon blared. Corva's voice boomed over the facility's speakers. Intruders, defend the prototypes at all costs. Elite guards poured in, their armor gleaming under harsh industrial lights. Alan's team scattered, taking cover behind machinery. Chen, Rodriguez, flank left, Alan ordered. Jenkins with me. The air filled with crackling energy as both sides exchanged fire. Alan's exosuit hummed, enhancing his strength and reflexes as he vaulted over a conveyor belt. A massive Pakled, easily twice Alan's size, charged at him. Alan sidestepped, using the alien's momentum to send him crashing into a stack of crates. Corva! Alan shouted, spotting the renegade leader near a control panel. Corva snarled, activating a personal shield. He raised a prototype weapon, its barrel glowing with ominous energy. Alan dove as the air ignited around him. He rolled to his feet, closing the distance. His fist connected with Corva's jaw, the exosuit amplifying the blow. They grappled, crashing through delicate equipment. Alan's training gave him an edge, but Corva's raw strength was overwhelming. You can't stop us, Corva grunted, pinning Alan against a wall. The weapons are already out there. Alan headbutted the Pakled, stunning him. Maybe, but I can stop you. With a final decisive strike, Alan knocked Corva unconscious. The renegade leader crumpled to the floor. Facility secure, Chen reported. But sir, we're picking up a transmission. Another cell led by someone named Zerka. They've got a cache of prototypes. Alan's fists tight. One victory, but the war was not nearly finished. He tapped his comm, contacting Spica. Commander, we need to split our forces. I'm going after Zerka. Spica's gravelly voice crackled through. Understood, human. Hunt them down. Alan gathered his team, their faces grim but determined. Prep for immediate departure. We've got a renegade to catch. Catch. The renegade threat wasn't finished yet. Alan's boots clanged on the deck as he strode to the bridge of the Intrepid. The ship hummed with tension as his crew prepared for their next move against Zerka's forces. He gazed at the tactical display, its holographic projections casting an eerie blue glow across his face. Status report, he barked. Lieutenant Rodriguez spoke up, her voice tight. Sir, we've detected a massive energy signature on the third moon of Cygnus 4. It matches the prototype weapons. Alan's eyes narrowed. Looks like we've found their new nest. Spica, are you seeing this? The gruff Pakled commander's face appeared on the console. We see it, human. The renegades have gone to ground. We must strike now before they can fortify further. Alan nodded, his mind already racing through potential strategies. Agreed. We'll need to hit them from multiple angles. Your forces can draw their fire while my team slips in under cloak. Spica's massive fist slammed against something off-screen. Good. We will crush them with overwhelming force. As the joint fleet approached the moon, Alan briefed his strike team. Each soldier wore a sleek exosuit, its matte black surface absorbing light. Remember, our primary objective is to secure those weapons, Alan said, his voice steady. We can't let a single prototype slip through our fingers. The team nodded, their faces a mix of persistence and carefully controlled fear. They'd all seen what these weapons could do. As Spica's ships engaged the outer defenses in a furious barrage, Alan's cloaked shuttle slipped silently through the chaos. They touched down in a narrow ravine, hidden from enemy sensors. Move out, Alan whispered, and his team fanned out across the rocky terrain. They encountered their first resistance at the perimeter. A renegade patrol, armed with crackling energy rifles, swept the area. Alan signaled his team to hold position. He crept forward, every movement precise and controlled. In a blur of motion, Alan struck. His armored fist connected with the first guard's helmet, crumpling the metal. Before the others could react, he'd already disabled two more. The last guard raised his weapon, but a precise shot from Rodriguez dropped him before he could fire. Nice work, Alan said, his breathing slightly elevated. Let's keep moving. They infiltrated deeper into the compound, disabling security systems and evading patrols. The distant sound of Spica's assault provided constant cover. Suddenly, alarms blared. A voice boomed over hidden speakers. Intruders detected! All units, converge on Sector 7! So much for stealth, Alan muttered. Plan B, people. We go loud. The air filled with the whine of energy weapons as renegade forces poured into the corridors. Alan's team fought back fiercely, their advanced exosuits giving them an edge in close quarters. Through the chaos, Alan spotted a heavily armored door. That has to be the weapons cache. Chen, plant the breaching charges. As Chen worked, Alan saw a massive Pakled bearing down on them, prototype weapon in hand. The air crackled with unstable energy. Take cover, Alan shouted, diving behind a support pillar. The prototype weapon discharged, vaporizing everything in its path. Alan's mind raced. That had to be Vrikul, the renegade leader. He needed to end this now. Rodriguez, Chen, get that door open and secure those weapons, he ordered. I'll deal with our friend here. Alan burst from cover, dodging blasts of energy that left molten craters in the walls. He closed the distance, relying on speed and maneuverability to avoid Vrikul's devastating attacks. The two clashed in a furious melee. Vrikul's raw strength was overwhelming, but Alan's combat training gave him an edge. They traded blows, the sound of metal on metal echoing through the chamber. Vrikul roared, "You cannot stop us, human! The galaxy will burn!" Alan didn't waste breath on a reply. He feinted left, then struck with all his augmented strength at Vrikul's exposed right side. The Pakled staggered, his grip on the prototype weapon loosening. In a final desperate move, Alan swept Vrikul's legs and wrenched the weapon from his grasp. He brought it down hard on the Pakled's head, and Vrikul crumpled to the ground. Panting, Alan stood over his fallen foe. "It's over, Vrikul. Give me the access codes to the bunker, now." Vrikul glared up at him, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. "You've won nothing, human. The codes are—" A distant explosion rocked the facility. Alan's comm crackled to life. "Sir!" It was Rodriguez. "We've secured the weapons cache, but we've got a problem. A splinter group just stole a warship. They're breaking atmosphere now." Alan cursed under his breath. One fire extinguished, another ignited. He looked down at Vrikul. "Looks like some of your friends didn't get the surrender memo. Care to tell me who's leading them?" Vrikul's laugh was bitter. "Korak. He always was the clever one. You'll never catch him now." Alan's face hardened. He tapped his comm. "Speak to. We've got a situation. Rally your forces and prepare for pursuit. This isn't over yet. As Alan marched Vrikul out of the facility, his mind was already planning their next move. The renegade threat had just become mobile and far more dangerous. They needed to end this before Korak could unleash those weapons on an unsuspecting galaxy. Alan's expression resolute as the Intrepid dropped out of hyperspace. The human colony of New Eden filled the view screen, a once thriving settlement now under siege. Korak's warship loomed above, its massive hull blotting out the sun. "Dear God," Lieutenant Rodriguez whispered, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Alan leaned forward, studying the data streaming in. "Life signs?" "Concentrated in the central plaza, sir," Chen reported. "But they're mixed, colonists and hostiles. Korak's using them as shields." The comms crackled. Spica's gravelly voice filled the bridge. "What's the plan, human? My gunners are itching for a fight." Alan's mind raced through possibilities. A frontal assault was out of the question. They needed precision, stealth. "Commander, hold your forces back," Alan ordered. "We're going in quiet." He turned to his team. "Gear up, we're taking the fight to them." Minutes later, Alan crouched in the belly of a stealth shuttle, his exosuit humming with energy. A swarm of pencil-thin drones buzzed around them, their adaptive camouflage shifting to match the warship's hull. "Remember," Alan said, his voice low, "Team Alpha hits the engine room and weapons systems. Bravo, you're with me. We find those hostages." The shuttle's ramp hissed open. Alan's HUD lit up, highlighting structural weaknesses in the warship's armor. He nodded to Rodriguez. "Now!" The drones swarmed forward, lasers cutting through steel with surgical precision. Alan's team followed, slipping into the breach like ghosts. Inside, the ship's corridors stretched before them, a maze of steel and shadows. Alan's suit picked up life signs, marking hostiles in red. He raised a fist, signaling his team to hold position as a patrol passed. One by one, they took down Korak's men. No alarms, no shots fired. Just the whisper of nanofilament garrots and the soft thud of bodies hitting the deck. They found the hostage bay, its doors sealed tight. Through the viewport, Alan saw colonists huddled together, fear etched on their faces, and there, looming over them, stood Korak himself. The renegade Paklid's voice boomed through the door. "Tell me the access codes for your defense grid or I start killing hostages." Alan's blood boiled. He signaled Rodriguez, who primed a breaching charge. The explosion rocked the chamber. Alan's team poured through the smoke, weapons blazing. Korak's guards fell in seconds, overwhelmed by the human's superior tech and training. But victory was short-lived. Korak, snarling with rage, thumped his hand into a control panel. Alarms blared. The hostage bay doors slammed shut, trapping them all inside. "Fools!" Korak roared. "You've doomed us all!" Alan's suit sensors screamed warnings. The air was being vented from the surrounding corridors. They were trapped and running out of oxygen fast. "Sir," Rodriguez called out, "the ship's systems. They're too alien. I can't hack them." Alan's mind raced. Then he saw it. A maintenance panel. Its circuitry exposed. He ripped off his glove, exposing the neural interface built into his palm. "Cover me," he ordered, pressing his hand to the alien tech. Pain lanced through Alan's skull as his implants struggled to interface with the Paklid systems. Lines of alien code flashed across his vision. He pushed harder, forcing his way through firewalls and fail-safes. Sweat beaded on his forehead. His lungs burned. But then, the alarms cut off. With a hiss, fresh air flooded the chamber. Alan sagged against the wall, gasping. "We're clear," he managed. "Let's move." As they escorted the hostages to safety, the ship rocked violently. Spica's assault had begun. They rounded a corner and came face to face with Korak and his inner circle, desperately trying to reach an escape pod. Korak's eyes blazed with hate. He held up a detonator. "One more step and I blow this ship's core. We all die." Alan stepped forward, his voice steady. "You're finished, Korak. Surrender now." The Paklad's laugh was bitter. "To you? A weak human?" "Then prove your strength," Alan challenged. "Face me one-on-one. Winner takes all." Korak hesitated, then grinned savagely. I accept. The two circled each other, their combat suits humming with lethal energy. Korak struck first, his cybernetically enhanced fist whistling through the air. Alan ducked, feeling the wind of the blow. He countered with a series of rapid strikes, testing Korak's defenses. The Pakled was strong, but Alan was faster. He dodged and weaved, letting Korak tire himself out. Korak roared in frustration, charging forward. Alan sidestepped at the last second, using the Pakled's momentum against him. Korak stumbled, off balance. In that split second, Alan struck. His fist connected with Korak's jaw, enhanced by his suit's strength amplifiers. The Pakled crumpled to the deck, unconscious. Alan stood over his fallen foe, breathing hard. He turned to Korak's stunned followers. It's over. Stand down. As his team secured the prisoners, Alan's comm crackled to life. Sir, it was Chen. We've stabilized the core, but this ship is falling apart. We need to evacuate now. Alan nodded. Understood. Begin evacuation procedures. Get everyone off this hulk. Hours later, Alan stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, watching as the last shuttles departed the crippled warship. Beside him, Spica's massive form cast a shadow. You fought well, human, the Pakled rumbled. Perhaps there is hope for our peoples yet. Alan nodded, his eyes fixed on the colony below. We won the day, Commander, but this war, it's not nearly finished. Spica grunted in agreement. Then we must prepare. The technology we've captured here, it could turn the tide. Agreed, Alan said. He turned to his crew, his face set with purpose. Let's get to work. We've got a long road ahead. Alan's eyes flicked across the tactical displays as the last transport lifted off from New Eden's surface. The colony was safe, but a knot of tension coiled in his gut. Something wasn't right. His comm unit crackled. Bennett, we need to talk. Spica's gravelly voice carried an edge of urgency Alan had never heard before. Seconds later, the Pakled commander's hologram flickered to life on the bridge. Spica's face was grim. The High Command has lost their minds. They've authorized a superweapon, a planet killer. Alan's blood ran cold. Where? En route to your core systems, heavily guarded dreadnought. If it reaches its target. Spica trailed off. Then we stop it, Alan said, his fists tight. Can you rendezvous with us? Spica nodded. Already moving, but we'll be outnumbered. Then we'll have to be clever. Alan turned to his crew. Prep for immediate departure, and get me our best infiltration team. Hours later, Alan crouched in the cramped confines of a stealth shuttle, his strike team around him. Through the viewport, he watched Spica's ships engage the Pakled armada. Explosions bloomed silently in the void. Now, Alan whispered. The shuttle darted forward, weaving through the chaos of battle. They approached the massive dreadnought, its hull overflowing with weapon emplacements. There, Rodriguez pointed. Maintenance hatch, port side. Alan nodded. Take us in. The shuttle's magnetic clamps engaged with a dull thunk. Alan activated his suit's vacuum seals. Cut us in, fast and quiet. Chen's plasma torch made short work of the hatch. They slipped inside, the artificial gravity taking hold. Alan checked his HUD. Life signs all over. Stay sharp. They moved through the corridors, encountering scattered resistance. Energy bolts sizzled past Alan's head as he dove for cover. He returned fire, his team working in perfect sync to clear each section. A distant boom shook the ship. Spica's assault was keeping the Pakleds occupied. Command center should be 2 decks up, Rodriguez reported. As they neared their target, a massive Pakled in ornate armor stepped into view. The enemy commander. Intruders, he bellowed, charging forward. Alan met the Pakled's rush head-on. They clashed in a fury of augmented strikes. The Pakled was strong, but Alan was faster. He dodged a crushing blow, countering with a series of rapid jabs to vulnerable joint servos. The Pakled roared in frustration, swinging wildly. Alan saw his opening. He ducked under the commander's guard and struck upward, his armored fist connecting with the Pakled's jaw. The alien crashed to the deck, unconscious. Alan staggered, clutching his side where the packlet had landed a glancing blow. "Secure the command center," he ordered through gritted teeth. His team worked swiftly, venting sections of the ship and forcing the crew to abandon their posts. Alan limped to the main control panel, interfacing with the alien tech. "Sir?" Chen's voice was panicked. "The superweapon! It's rigged to detonate if we try to disarm it!" Alan's mind raced. There was only one option left. "Everyone out," he ordered. "Back to the shuttle. Now." Rodriguez hesitated. "Sir, what about you?" "That's an order, Lieutenant. Go!" As his team retreated, Alan turned back to the controls. He had work to do. Minutes ticked by as Alan's fingers flew across the alien interface. Warning klaxons blared. The dreadnought shuddered as its systems began to fail. Alan allowed himself a small smile. The superweapon was neutralized. His people were safe. As the lights flickered and died around him, Alan closed his eyes. His last thoughts were of Earth, of home, and of a future where humans and packleds might one day live in peace. Outside, the battle raged on, but aboard the massive dreadnought, all was still.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.